So for audience, I think you should consider your music videos. I think that's a good place to start. And the question here is asking you to analyse that music video, thinking about the audience, thinking about how it has been produced to appeal to a particular audience, the types of pleasure and uses the audience might get when they consume that product, when they view that video, and also thinking about how the product has been made in such a way to encourage the audience to spread it and share it, to circulate that product to aid its distribution. So the first theorist to look at is Richard Dyer. A good quote to use from him is that star images are produced and consumed on the strength of their meanings. This is arguing that he argues that stars are not real, that they are constructed deliberately by media producers through a range of their products. So for a music star, we can think about how their videos, their album artwork, how their appearances, how their stage performances all build up and construct an idea of who this star is and what they stand for. Dyer's theory is that these star images are constructed to appeal to a particular target audience. So, for example, if we think about some sort of typical meanings you might associate with the punk genre, you might think of their anti-authoritarian stance, their rebelliousness against mainstream society. That's encoded into those products, and it's encoded to appeal to a target audience which finds those meanings appealing. So, for example, teenagers often can be thought of as wanting to rebel against the rules which they live under, the rules of their parents, of their school, of society, and the idea of breaking out against that, being anti-authoritarian and rebellious, is appealing to them. So when relating this to your video, think about what you were trying to say about your star. Look at that video and think about how does this represent them to a particular audience. What are the meanings that that the video suggests? Why is that appealing to your particular target audience? Second theory you can use to think about audience and your music video is the uses and gratifications theory by Blumler, Lazarfeld and Katz. They argue that audiences don't watch anything that's just thrust in front of them, but they actively seek out different media products for different reasons, to give them pleasure or for different uses within their life. One of these uses, which is probably quite common for music videos, is as a source of diversion. And that is a sort of escapism from a more boring, mundane reality of the audience's lives into something a little more exciting. You can obviously think about that kind of use for action films and that kind of entertainment as well. But in some music videos too, it's an idea that somebody who can watch it and can sort of revel and enjoy imagining a more exciting and glamorous life. Personal relationships is another use and gratification identified by Blum, Lazarfeld and Katz. And they say that an audience can enjoy feelings of companionship through consuming media products, like they are almost becoming friends or getting to know the characters contained within those products. So common ways in which this might be encouraged through a media text, such as a music video, would be through the direct address and use of close-ups, where it feels almost like a one-to-one conversation or performance direct from the artist to the audience. Also by including aspects where you feel you get to know the star, their real person. So, for example, any backstage footage of them, or any sort of narrative which indicates their personal life. These all give the audience a sense of who that artist really is, and an opportunity to feel like they're getting to know them. A further aspect of personal relationships is the relationships an audience can build with other members of the audience through their shared fandom. So the way they, discuss their shared interest in a particular artist and their lives and their work. This area is probably not as relevant to music videos, but certainly the idea of getting to know who the star is and feeling like you know the real person and you have a relationship with them is part of the pleasure. Certainly if you think about pop videos and boy bands and how the teenage audience get to feel like they know the real characters, that's definitely a key aspect of one of the uses and gratifications. So Henry Jenkins argues in his book Spreadable Media that in the online age it's very different to the offline age of broadcast media, that instead of a handful of products to choose from, the audience is faced with billions of videos on YouTube, many different options to choose from. And he argues that because of this, to be successfully distributed in the online age, these products rely on the audience sharing and circulating content to be sort of the engine behind that distribution. It's no longer possible for companies just to push content at audiences. It needs to draw audiences towards it through offering them something special, something different, something that means something to them. And it needs those audiences then to share it and spread it. He's got a quote, a bit trite, but you know, it does the job. If it doesn't spread, it's dead. So the idea that if the audience doesn't do this, if it doesn't circulate the product, it's not going to get widely circulated. So when applying this to your music video, think about how it's been created in such a way to make it special to the audience. Is it particularly humorous or funny in any aspect? Is it visually spectacular, or does it do something very original or different? Something which might cause the audience to think, wow, this is something that means something to me. This is something I'm going to spread on and share.